something to say.
Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of Project Shadow. Yeah, if for those of you who have been listening to me for a while, and I know who some of you are, and I can't wait to see you all in July, and thank you for all your love and support. You may remember Project Shadow. Project Shadow hasn't been around for a long time. In fact, the original site that we ran was called Project Shadow way back in the day. And when I say that, I mean, let's see, we bought Project Shadow, I think, for the first time in 97, and started running a site under that name for quite some time. It would have been about 10 years ago that we started Dash Punk as a blog on Project Shadow. Dash Punk took over. Project Shadow became a social network for a time. Our first podcast was called The Project Shadow Informant, if you remember, which is now Fandom Today. And we ended up having to retire Project Shadow after a illustrious career and time with us because, well, we were running a social network with Ning and they changed their price structure and what have you. So you guys have been pestering me for a while to start a blog, and not really a blog kind of a guy. Mainly because I sit around and I write all day, and it's hard for me to sit down and write about what I did that day after that day. But I love to talk, and so that's what I'm going to start doing here. This is kind of my personal, private podcast, which is why today it's just me. Brian is not here right now, though he may appear on future episodes, as may Wolf, maybe even Eden. We have a couple other special guests who may be coming in. What are we going to be talking about, you may be wondering? Well, whatever comes to mind. What I've been working on, what's going on with me, what I'm interested in, what I like. You know, general things like that. It's going to be a lot more free flow than any of our other podcasts. It may, at some points, be daily, though I will do my best not to put out more than one podcast a day on the feed. More than likely, that just will never happen. But I cannot guarantee that this podcast will be daily. It's kind of whenever I've got something to say, whenever I would normally post to the site a personal blog post, that's when you'll get an episode of Project Shadow, which more than likely will be just about every day. But that's that. I wanted to start today with episode 1, When is Our Solemn Hour? Because, okay, it's been a while since I've gotten a book out, and I know. I've been working. I've had a couple different projects that have fallen through. One, which I really dearly loved. I got about 34,000 words into it, and then discovered a fatal error in the plot. Yeah, that's heartbreaking. So, hopefully I'll be able to rescue that story at some point, because I really do like it, and I really love the characters, and I want to bring it to you, but I've been doctoring it and trying to fix it up and get it working, and hopefully all that will be done, and I'll be able to show that to you soon, hopefully. But one of the other things that's been troubling me is I've had this idea in the back of my head. An idea isn't really the word. A worm. A buzz. As Harlan Ellison might say, a hornet in the ear. If you're not familiar with that phrase, there's a wonderful essay by Harlan Ellison where he compares horror writers to a hornet in the ear of society, where they're to buzz, annoy, and periodically to sting. And I don't consider myself primarily a horror writer, though I have done some horror stuff. I started as a horror writer, though with the exception of Shine, which I consider to be kind of dark science fiction, dark sci-fi, in the vein of horror, I don't think any of my horror stories have been published. I'm going to have to look into that, because if I can find an old copy of Bear's Eye Climbs the Mountain, I really liked that. And it's a vampire story that I wrote. And I'm going to have to look and see if I can find a copy of that and post it to the site for you guys. But if you've been with us since before Dash Punk, you may have seen some of my horror shorts that I had posted up on the site, but they are currently not up anywhere, mainly because I'm a writer and I'm really, really picky, and I kind of read through them and went, oh, I want to do another edit and I want to do a rewrite, and I took them all down. Yeah, I do that. Anyway, I've had this thing kind of stirring in the back of my head, and I would love to play it for you, but I can't, because I'm afraid that they'll come after me and do terrible, terrible, terrible things to me. Not the band per se, but I live in fear of playing music on the podcast. I really do, because some people are fine with it. In fact, we're going to be starting a new podcast on myths and mythic themes in popular culture. And Miss Kathy Marr has given us permission to name that When Giants Walk, and to use her wonderful song, one of my favorite songs ever, When Giants Walk, as the opening and closing credits for that. And so we'll be looking forward to that. And we've worked with a lot of great musicians who have let us use their music. I have not been able to get in touch with the band, so in question here, so I don't know how they would feel about it. But the song is Our Solemn Hour by Within Temptation. If you head over to oursolemnhour.com, which I own, you will find there this podcast and their video from the Black Symphony production of that song. I'm obsessed with this song. I'm totally obsessed with this song. Every time I sit down to write, this song starts playing in the back of my head. And it's a great song. It's epic. And who doesn't love epic music? I mean, that's one of the things that Within Temptation's great at. The new album, not so epic, but really, really good. But I can't get this song out of my head. I've had thought worms like this before, but usually I can get past them. I can get somewhere. Not with this one. This one's been a bit of a problem. What kind of a problem, you may be asking? Well, you see, I've over the past couple weeks have outlined maybe 5, 6 different Our Solemn Hour stories, and they all take place in different genres, different settings, with different characters, and I don't know which one I want to write, because every time I think I've found the one, it's like Zathras comes in and just shakes his head at me and goes, not that one. And that's frustrating. So I decided to start this Our Solemn Hour project, which you may see the ads around for, the When is Our Solemn Hour that we're putting around. And what this is going to be is I'm going to just start sharing them. I've been wanting to get you guys involved in my creative process for a while, because writing is a very lonely thing. And I really enjoyed the relationship that we developed with each other when I was doing the shorts for Amazon. And that's kind of what this is going to be. Sort of. I'm going to be working on fiction. I'm going to be working on these ideas. I will be posting stuff to the site on a semi-regular basis. I wish I could promise, like, every day I'm going to put something up. And hopefully, knock on wood, I will be able to do that. But I will be putting up stuff as often as I can. I'll be updating this podcast to let you guys know what's going on with everything. And we'll just see either if one takes off, if you guys really, really like one and don't care about the others, maybe that'll help me make the decision. I really want this to become more of a collaboration, because you guys have been so great. Oh, you guys have been so great for me in so many ways. And hopefully this will be a new way for us to start working together. The stories are initially going to be up on Scribd, and the way we're going to be handling that is as long as I can get the settings right. I'm kind of new to Scribd, so I apologize if at first this is a little janky, but the stories are going to be up there. They'll be free to read on the web, and there'll be a small cost for download. If possible, I may make a PDF free through them. If I can't do that easily through them, then I'll post a PDF to the site that'll be free to download. But I would like to post like an EPUB up there so that if you're like me and you're addicted to your Kindle reader or to iBooks, you can easily import it over there and read it a lot easier. I find reading EPUB a lot easier than reading PDF on my iPad, but maybe that's just me. You don't have to buy them, though. Any money that we raise off this will help keep me writing, and that's a good thing. Help keep these podcasts going. And once we get a collection available, we'll post that to Amazon as a Kindle file, and that'll be kind of a collection of the final draft. There will probably be errors in these files, and I would love it if you guys would help me. We will have a special dedication page at the beginning of the Kindle edition that will be dedicated to all those who helped us find typos and fix them, because I'm dyslexic, and so I have a lot of macros and stuff that I use to correct the spelling on these things, and I have a team of wonderful friends and who help me to try to clean the wording up, but sometimes we miss things. So if you guys could help us by reporting where they are and help us to make them better and I can't do this for everybody. So the first email I get about a typo will be the one who gets credited. And I'm sorry about that, but I just have this nightmare of like 100 of you coming in on each typo, and we don't want the dedication to be longer than the book. I hope you guys understand that. But please, help out and try to be the first. I think that's maybe a fun incentive to get people in. I know I would do it. I've been finding typos in very public big books lately, and I kind of wish they had a place where we could report that. But anyway, I'm very excited about this, if you can't tell. Our solemnhour.com is where we're going to be posting all this, or that's at dashpunk.com/OSH, whichever is easier for you to remember. I think our solemnhour.com is easiest. This podcast will be housed, as you can tell, I haven't lost my eloquence, at projectshadow.com, which is going to be at dashpunk.com/PS. And, of course, everything else that we do will be over at Dashpunk as well. I hope you enjoyed. This is kind of going to be a short episode. I'm going to prattle on just a little bit longer after this. And this has been the first time I've podcasted without a partner in a long time, so I'm a little bit nervous. It's just me and you. That's kind of a good feeling. So what have I been up to? Like I said, I've been working on a novel that hopefully I will be able to fix one of the errors. It's really frustrating, too, because I outlined the whole thing, and the fatal error is after getting about almost a third to halfway through, I realized that the most interesting character in the book is not the main character, and he's kind of a background character who's not in the book very much, and that's, in my eyes, a fatal flaw. So that's what I'm trying to figure out how to fix and make that better. I think I'll be able to do it. I really do. I'm also a little concerned about that one, because that's one of the first books that I've written that's in kind of this modern-day contemporary dark fantasy setting that I've been developing for a couple years now, and I really, really like it. I get concerned, though, because it has real names in it. Not like my other stories don't have real names, but I generally pick more exotic names, which some of you guys like, some of you guys hate, and that one woman, as we know, called me racist and that I hated white people for using names from non-white sources. But as we know, we don't give much credence to people like that. But this is one of the first books where we have characters whose names are Daniel and Nathan and things of that nature. There's even a Paul in it. And after I started working through, actually there's two Pauls in it, But one of the after I started doing this, I got a little nervous because I've got several friends named Paul. I've got a friend named Daniel. I used to have a boyfriend named Nathan, but that was a really long time ago, and they have absolutely nothing in common, trust me, between that person and the character. And at first I almost changed the names, because I don't want Daniel thinking that Daniel's based on him. But I think that's kind of obvious. I'm hoping that people will be able to get past that and won't have issues with that. Hopefully. I'd really like to know what you guys think, especially since I'm going to be retooling that story a lot. Because I really don't want people to be upset and frustrated because it's the way it is. I don't know, I think people are wise enough to realize that just because a character has the same first name as you, it's not exactly you. But we shall see. It's the first time I've really done this, because I haven't written in a modern setting, a modern day Earth setting. Oh, goodness. Since probably 98. I've been writing mostly science fiction and fantasy since then. And this is fantasy. Like I said, it's contemporary dark fantasy, but it's quite a change of pace for me. I really like it. It deals with some aspects of life that I really love. In my style, it is going to be very over the top in a lot of ways. The story will take place at a drag cabaret, because I'm a big fan of drag. And I have a lot of friends who are performers. And I'm actually hoping to get some of them on the podcast so you can meet them, because they're awesome people, and start finding out about their shows and